Call this meeting to order. At this time, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, is there any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a verification of the posting of the agenda, please?
Juliana Conan for the record. The agenda was posted on the 10th day of January between the hours of 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock p.m. at the locations listed on the agenda in accordance with statutes.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to 6, consideration possible action, approval of the minutes of the meeting held on December 20th, 2023, department tours, as well as December 20th, 2023, regular scheduled meeting. Can I get a,
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second it.
all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to 7A, consideration and possible action, update on current activities, plans, or actions related to the Bureau of Land Management, Carson City District. And I believe we have, is it Kim today?
Yes.
Kim online.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right, and then I will wait for the screen to be shared. I have a presentation. All right, there we go. Thank you for your time today. As always, I appreciate the opportunity to update you. And sorry, it's been a couple of months since we've been able to do that. So we have just a few updates for you. So next slide, please. All right, for our geothermal projects, I don't have any new updates on the Diamond Flat project. We are continuing to consult with the Walker River Paiute tribe, and we will continue doing that for a while here, and we won't be moving forward with the project until we make some progress there. On the Wabasca exploration geothermal project, the EA was published in November of 2023, and the public comment period closed on December 6th. Our next step for that is to prepare the finding of no significant impact and the decision record, and we anticipate that sometime in spring of this year. And then for Dixie Meadows, we have determined that we need to do additional NEPA. And so we are currently coordinating with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Navy, and ORMAT on additional data needs for the baseline that will support that additional NEPA. No new updates on the Coyote Canyon project. We are still gathering the baselines. ORMAT's collecting the data. They send it to us, and we
Are you still there, Kim?
There we go. Okay. All right. So our solar projects, we have several in the area. So there's the Libra Solar project. That project proposes to generate about 700 megawatts of solar energy. It's southeast of Urington. That draft EIS is scheduled to be published this month, probably this Friday, actually, but no guarantee, but it's looking like this Friday. And that will begin a 45-day comment period. The next one is the Parker Butte Solar project. That one would generate up to 550 megawatts of solar energy northeast of Urington. That one is in our variance phase. So the variance is if we have our solar programmatic EIS that identified areas where solar can move forward, and then outside of those areas, you have to go through a variance process to demonstrate that it could be a viable project. And so we have several projects in that variance phase. It is a public process, and it happens before the NEPA begins. So the Parker Butte Solar project is in that variance process. We had a cooperating agency and public meeting last week, January 9th and 11th. The Mason Valley and Pine Nut Solar project, that's two different projects, but we're writing them under one EIS. Nextera is finalizing the project timelines, and then they have some area that they're interested in that is 6 acres that are excluded from solar development. They need to decide whether they want to include those in their project area or not. If they do, that would require an RMP amendment. And if they don't want to include those, then we would move forward without the RMP amendment. So we just need, they need to decide whether they want to pursue that or not. Both of those projects are located north of Yerington, and their estimated construction is 2028 for Mason Valley and 2029 for Pine Nut. The last one that you see there is the Artemisia Solar, and that project would proposes to generate up to 300 megawatts of solar energy, also north of Yerington. And that one also, like the Parker Butte, is in the variance phase. The cooperating agency and public meetings they're actually scheduled. We can get you the dates. When I did this PowerPoint presentation, we had not yet put the news release out, but those are scheduled late January, early February. And next slide, please. For the Wild Horse and Burro, we completed our Clan Alpine gather. That gather started on November 7th and concluded on November 29th. We gathered a little over 1,500 animals. 81 mares were treated and released, and 109 stallions were released, and the rest were removed. As I reported up before, we did get an appeal on the Gather EA for that HMA, and that appeal is ongoing. It will likely be ongoing for a while. The appeals take some time to work through. On the NDAA, all of the information there is the same as I reported out last time. We are continuing to move forward with everything on our end. It just takes time to move forward with, or to work through all of the nuances of that legislation. So we're still working to hire an ID team. We are still working with Bureau of Reclamation on the checkerboard resolution and the conveyances to Churchill County. We're still working with all of the grazing permittees that are impacted by this. And we are working with the Navy on the Sand Canyon Road realignment, starting with the baseline surveys. That's what we would be focusing on this year. Next slide. The Vero fiber optic line, this is the project that would put a fiber optic line from Vegas up to the Reno area. This is the one that is being managed out of our state office. We have an amendment to the biological opinion. It started out as covering just desert tortoise, but we are now including the yellow-billed cuckoo and the southwestern willow flycatcher. So that is expected to be completed within the next few weeks. The 30-day public comment period for the preliminary EA closed last week on January 10th. So the next step for this one is for the contractor to revise the EA based on the public input that we received. Next slide. This is our GreenLink West project, the large transmission line from Vegas up to the Reno area. And I don't have any new updates on this. It's the same as where we were the last time I reported out. And one last slide, I think.
You there, Kim?
Provide that baseline data to us. And I think we should be on the question slide, but before I open it up,
Kim, could you go back to the County Line Mine project and go over that one again? You cut out on us there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you.
We have, yeah, sure. We have no new updates to that one. We're still in the baseline phase for this one, so the company is collecting baseline data. We'll be in this for a little bit of time. So no new updates on the EA. As we receive the baseline data, we review those. And then now we should be at the question slide. Before I open it up for questions, though, I would like to also introduce you all to Siobhan Sapp, who is on the line with us as well. Some of you may remember her from when she was with the Carson City District as the assistant field manager. And then she moved on to the Washington, not DC, the Washington State office. But she is back with our Stillwater office as the acting field manager. She just started this week, so we have her for the next 4 months, and she'll be giving these updates for the next couple of months here. So welcome back to Siobhan. We are super excited to have her here. And with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Thank you, Kim. Does anyone have any questions for Kim? None? Any public comment? Okay, thank you, Kim.
Thank you so much for your time today. Take care.
Moving on to item 7B, consideration possible action approval to proceed with the process necessary to construct the secondary water treatment plant in the current 100-year floodplain. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Chris Frost, Churchill County Public Works Planning and Zoning. So this agenda item is less requesting approval and more getting the information out into the public. So as part of the preliminary engineering report for the secondary wastewater treatment plant, an engineering review has to be done. Many of the stakeholders involved are contacted with the design plans and with the work that is going to take place. And we received a comment back from, I believe it was the Bureau of Safe Drinking Water, that notified us that the plant was being built in the current 100-year floodplain. So that requires a process for us to be able to construct it in that area. It's an 8-step process, and the first part of that process is to put out a notice of early public review. And what that means is basically you're giving the information out to the public so they can comment not on the project itself, but on the fact that the project is being built in a floodplain. That was put into the newspaper, I believe, Pam, last Friday. Was that correct? There's 15 days for people to post their comments. If we receive comments, those comments will be addressed by the engineer to either mitigate or, God forbid, relocate the location. And if there are no comments, we then have the authority to move forward under the parameters of our Title 19, which is flood damage. So we're fortunate that we already have a provision written into our county code that addresses these items. Once all the necessary comments have been reviewed, if there are none, we have already done alternative studies as part of the preliminary engineering report. At that point in time, we will issue what is called a notice of explanation of project located in the floodplain. Basically, that comes in front of the board here just to show that you have been made aware that we are building that in the floodplain under the parameters of our current code. So this is, again, I have written this agenda item to request approval, and I'm asking for the approval for me to proceed with the process that is required for us to be able to do this in the floodplain. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Chris. Is there any questions from board or staff?
Is this the one that's going in at the golf course?
Yes, this is, and that's why I don't anticipate any issues. I mean, we have an existing sewer treatment plant that was there, although it hasn't been in operation in years. But this is the one that's going in the area where that sewer plant is. So I don't foresee any public outcry that this is being constructed in the floodplain. And honestly, had we been doing this, 3 or 4 years from now, it's likely that our floodplain is going to be adjusted anyway in the process that we're doing with HDR and the Subconservancy. So we're a little ahead of the game trying to take care of it this way.
Any other questions? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to proceed with the process necessary to construct the secondary water treatment plant in the current 100-year floodplain.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number C, the consideration possible action application for community support funding in the amount of $5,000 from the Fallon Community Theater Incorporated.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Star Olson, and I'm representing the Fallon Community Theater, Inc. Thank you for adding us to your agenda today. I'm not sure how much of this you want me to explain, because it's all on here, but we're requesting $5,000 to help fund the movies that we show to the community for free. We show 4 movies a weekend, among other events that we do, but that's the free events that we do. We do obviously have other things at the theater that happen with people renting it and live events with bands and productions. This wouldn't involve that. This would just be pretty much just for the
So is
the
that what
cost
you're
of
asking
movies.
for, is 5,000?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, any questions from board or staff?
Just a little more information, Mr. Chairman, Jim Barbie for the record. This is the first time they've requested funds since 2019, and they meet all the qualifications, and there are funds available that would cover this request.
Thank you. Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the funding for the Fallon Community Theater Incorporated in the amount of $5,000.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, and we'll need to grab a picture as well.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number D. Consideration possible action approval of modification of the comprehensive opioid stimulant and substance abuse program. Shannon?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the board. For the record, Shannon Ernst, Churchill County Social Services. So over a 2-year period, we have been funded by this source that you mentioned, COSAP, we call it. And previously, it was with Partnership Carson City. So the federal government provided the funds to the Attorney General's office, then they subgranted it to Partnership Carson City, and then they subgranted to us. It was found that that relationship was not working, and many people did not receive reimbursements for prior fiscal year. So the Attorney General's office took those funds back, and now they are doing the subawards. They negotiated with the federal government to make sure that they could go back and make sure everybody was whole for the prior fiscal year. We had not been reimbursed for May and June of 2023, totaling just at $17,000. So what this is, it's authorizing the chair to sign to allow us to modify and put that $17,000 in our current award with the Attorney General's office. So that we'll move forward. We'll have now just $17,000 more dollars that looks like in the grant, but we've already expended those funds. If there's any questions, I can answer.
Thank you, Shannon. Any questions?
I move to approve the modification as presented and authorize the chair to execute the same.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number E, consideration possible action, approval of construction grant between Churchill County and Hammond Construction in the amount of $66,829 to complete modifications of the entryway located at 270 South Main Street. Back to Shannon.
Again, for the record, Shannon Ernst, Churchill County Social Services. So everyone has toured 270 South Main, and as you know, there's currently one entrance. Through evaluation to make sure the building is secure to not only have social services, but other agencies there, it was determined we needed to add 2 more entrances. So when you came up, there would be one that would go over to the social services and another one over to the other side. The middle would be an administrative entrance. So we did go out for bids on this project. We had 2 bids come in and 2 individuals decide not to provide us a bid. The lowest bid that came in was the $66,829 from Hammond Construction. This also includes changing the windows in the front where there'll be a stucco wall 6 feet high to allow for, really confidentiality into the building, but allow for light. We have worked with the building department to ensure we have ADA accessibility compliance, and so I'm asking today to be able to accept this bid and execute the contract.
Thank you. Any questions? Any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the construction contract as presented and to further authorize the Director of Social Services to execute the same.
Second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number F, ratification of an agreement between Churchill County Social Services and the State of Nevada Department of Health and Human Services in the amount of $106,780 for delivery of community services to individuals and families at risk. Back to you. You're on a roll today.
This will be the last one today. For the record, Shannon Ernst, Churchill County Social Services. Normally, we're bringing this award before you, before October, but HHS has been behind. This is our community services block grant that we receive annually as the action agency here. We completed our action plan, had it submitted last May, and finally we received our award. This is a pass-through from federal HHS to the state grants management unit. So today I'm asking just for that ratification of these funds. These are key in supporting our community day and staff that we have for case management and other matching requirements. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for Shannon? Any public comment? Seeing none, motion, please.
I move to approve and ratify the agreement as presented.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Did anyone want to pull any of the letters received? Okay, moving on to new business. New business item number 9A. Zoom that in. Approval of a new position of legal secretary for the Public Defender's Office and a new position of evidence civil specialist for the Sheriff's Office at a combined cost of approximately $65,000 in fiscal year 2024. Joff?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. For the record, Joff Stark, Human Resources Director for Churchill County. Here this afternoon to request approval of a couple of positions that we are seeking to fill within the county. One of those is a full-time legal secretary for the Public Defender's Office, and the other one is a full-time evidence/civil specialist for the Sheriff's Office at the pay grades listed there. We are seeking to get those approved, and if they are approved, we'd like to be able to move forward and fill those positions right away. We are hopeful that these positions will help those two departments kind of keep moving forward and stay up to speed, especially as we look at the Public Defender's Office expanding. It would be nice to get someone on board there quickly to help with that transition. So I will take any questions you might have at this point.
Thank you, Joff. Any questions from staff?
No.
Any public comment? Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the following new positions. Number 1, full-time legal secretary for the Public Defender's Office at pay grade 46. 2, a full-time evidence/civil specialist for the Sheriff's Office at pay grade 39. And 3, approval to hire for those positions immediately.
Second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to new business, item 9B. Approval of a courier position for Churchill County Social Services at an estimated cost of $23,000. Joff?
Once again, Joff Stark for the record. This is a position that was really the grant funds were accepted by the board at the last meeting to implement a courier service for all of rural Nevada, specifically for medical purposes. So that position was approved, but we need to get a job description approved as well as a pay grade. So we've attached this job description for medical courier. We recommend that it be assigned a pay grade 30, which is the same grade as our transportation specialists, who are our Meals on Wheels drivers at the Life Center. If this is approved and assigned to pay grade 30, then we would like to start posting for that job right away.
Any questions for Joff? Any public comment? Motion, please.
I move to approve the job description for a courier position, assign it to pay grade 30, and approve the immediate recruitment of the position.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to new business 9C, approval of an invitation for bids to renovate portions of 101 through 151 North Main Street to accommodate the expansion of the Public Defender's Office. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe Sanford for the record. As the Commissioner is aware, the Department of Indigent Defense has required an expansion of the Public Defender's Office to include several more people, as the current public defenders and alternate public defender do not have any additional office space to allow them to accommodate any additional personnel. The recommendation is to renovate portions of the 101 to 151 North Main Street building, also known as the L Street, or the L building, to accommodate those positions. The scope of work has been worked with through the Public Works Office, who I know has been out there measuring and doing additional work on that. And so a full and more complete specification will be provided to bidders at the mandatory pre-bid meeting, but this is enough information to get people started.
Thank you, Joe. Is there any questions?
Mr. Chairman, Jim Barbie for the record. I would just add that as this is a mandate of the Indigent Defense Board, we have been in communications with them in terms of the cost of this expansion, and they cannot cover capital improvements. However, we will be, once upon completion and movement into this facility, charging a lease against the Public Defender's Office that will be reimbursed to them through the Indigent Defense Fund.
Thank you. Any other questions and/or public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the request for bids to renovate portions of 101-151 North Main Street.
Second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to 9D, advanced step appointment upon promotion of Chris Spross to Assistant County Manager, HR Director, at an additional cost of $17,200 per year. Joff?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Again, for the record, Joff Stark, Human Resources Director for Churchill County. As the board is aware, we had a new position created, which would be Assistant County Manager / HR Director for the county. That's a position that would cover me for when I retire here in a couple months. So we did receive applications. We conducted interviews and finished those interviews on January 9th. And there was one candidate, as indicated in the agenda report, that stood out, and that is Chris Spross. Chris has been with the county for 3.5 years now, and he comes with a great knowledge of the county and the departments, and he's got working knowledge with much of the staff. Some qualifications that an external candidate would not have. Normally, a promoted employee gets placed on the first step in the range. That's a 2-step increase over their salary, which would be a 5% increase. We believe Mr. Spross has the qualifications, exemplary qualifications, to meet this difficult recruiting problem, to be able to get a couple additional steps. And so our request is that he be placed at step 7 of the pay grade, and we would like that, which I didn't put in the motion, but it would be effective February 26th of 2024, which was the date that was originally approved for hiring this position, so there'd be some crossover between this person coming on and me leaving. There's also in the agenda report a $600 monthly stipend for a car allowance, and so Mr. Spross currently has that in his current position, and as Assistant County Manager, he'll be required to be driving around, and it's asked that that car allowance continue to be moving forward in the new position. If you have any questions, I'd be willing to answer those. Jim Barbie as well could answer questions, and Chris is here if you want to direct anything his way.
Thank you, Joff. Any questions from board or staff? Any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I move to approve the advanced step placement of Chris Ross to step 7 of grade 86, $148,116 annually.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, Chris.
Thank you.
Moving on to the consent items. Does anyone want to pull anything? If not, can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. Any future agenda items anyone wanted to consider? Okay, seeing none, commissioners and management staff report. Start with you, Bus.
After this meeting last month, I attended the Carson Waters Subconservancy District meeting. I missed dinner. They had dinner, but I missed that. The meeting went well. I mean, it was fairly short, shorter than normal. And the meeting went well.
Good to hear. Justin?
So last week I attended the Lahan Conservation District meeting. Went well. That's all I got.
I had an RTC meeting this morning and then a fire board meeting last week, and that's all I have. Jim, you have anything to add?
Just that we've been working steadily on the budget, and we'll continue to do that over the next month. We are excited in that we have staff as of this morning at Ranchera Arena currently pulling panels and prepping equipment as part of that approved contract and donation to the county. And so that's exciting news that will be benefiting everyone in the county. And then we continue to look at the weather. The next 4 weeks will be significant and give a little bit of idea of what our spring thaw is going to look like. And so I would just encourage commissioners to keep that in the back of their mind as we continue to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Sherry?
I have nothing, thank you.
Joe?
Just that I'll be attending the Nevada Water Rights, or Nevada Water Resource Association meeting at the next commission meeting with Miles, so take care of everything while we're gone.
Anything, Pam?
Yes. Linda couldn't be here today because she's deep in election stuff and on a conference call. But we did want to mention that the presidential preference primary, as you know, is coming up on February 6th. Early voting starts on Saturday, the 27th, and it will run for 1 week through February 2nd. Our office has been absolutely inundated with phone calls and the public showing up, wanting to know why their candidate is not on the ballot. They don't get it. We are trying to do everything we can to get information out there. So today we developed a little sheet that we can hand out to people that explains the caucus to them and gives them information about that. It has just been crazy. If you walk by our office, we've usually got people at every window and everybody's on the phone, and it's just been nuts. So the Republican caucus will be held on February 8th at the Rafter 3C from 5 to 7:30. So, you know, we've got all of that to deal with on top of everything else we're trying to do in our office.
Thank you, Pam. Julianne? Sheriff, you have anything to add? Okay. At this time, is there any public comment? Seeing none, we stand adjourned.